10 years ago, in 2002, the Canada Gairdner Foundation celebrated the beginning of the genome era shortly after the announcement of the draft sequence of the human genome, which appeared in Nature in February 2001. In cooperation with Genome Canada, with the then Chair Henry Friesen, who's here in the front rows, we developed a series of awards because we thought it was a transformative moment. And so we honored in 2002 with the Gairdner International Award 8 prominent scientists, including Eric Lander, who's with us today, and also 2 leaders in the field, in James Watson and Francis Collins. It was a heady moment and a great celebration, which I think has been one of the major honors for genome scientists up to today. Today we're focusing in the power and the promise on the remarkable progress that has taken place in the last 10 years. And we're going to try to open up new areas of thinking over the next 2 days. Gairdner, looking back to the moment in 2002, looked at the trajectory that had taken place from the time the double helix had been delineated. And many awards were actually given, some 30, during that time in a relationship to genome. That pace of awards relating to genomic genetic research over the last decade has indeed accelerated. And if we think back on the progress that is made in the 10 years since then, and much of it will be reviewed today, it's just remarkable. We think we've learned so much about the structure and the biology of genomics, not just in human beings, but in all living species. In fact, we can conclude that genomics is relevant to every living matter. And that is, in fact, the nature of this meeting, to look at the full scope of genomics in all nature and how it relates to our nation and our economy. An unbelievable number of clinical contributions have emerged. For example, I heard Eric Green of the NIH Human Genome Project about a week ago, and he said, in the last 10 years, we have now delineated 3,500 monomorphic genes, which newborns are inheriting without their knowledge at the time of birth. We only knew of a few hundred before that. He says there's 3,500 more to come. We haven't done as well in the genome-wide studies dealing with complex chronic diseases like diabetes, but it's improving, and there's more to come. We've now got into the epigenome, the ENCODE, all those various variations that tell us that biology is never useless. It's always there performing some key element of regulation. So we also know that this is now going to affect our health. It's starting to. Genomes can now be done for $1,000. What will this do for the next decade? And we'll learn some of those issues today. We know that, without question, our knowledge of genomics and its spin-offs will have striking impact on healthcare at the individual level. For example, will it become common practice to test a newborn, to do the genome? If it was your offspring, would you do it? These are issues that need to be dealt with. So it's an exciting time, and I welcome you here. I welcome the Minister Goodyear. We thank the Government of Canada, both Genome Canada and the Canada Gairdner Awards. Thank the government for its support and its commitment to our institutions. I think the skill is to bring them all together so that we can indeed have an impact as a nation that is recognized worldwide, that Canada is a major league player in genomic research and all the benefits that will accrue in the next generation. It's been great working with Pierre Meulien and his colleagues at Genome Canada. It's been great to work with our program committee. It's great to have you here present. Thank you for our sponsors, and I invite Pierre Meulien to come up and speak for Genome Canada and introduce the minister.
Merci John, bonjour à tous, bonjour à toutes. Bienvenue à la conférence La Génomique, le pouvoir et la promesse. Au nom du Genome Canada, je peux vous dire que je suis très heureux et enchanté de vous voir si nombreux aujourd'hui. Nous avons préparé un programme qui portera un regard très intéressant et approfondi sur la génomique, l'une des technologies les plus prometteuses et les plus importantes du monde actuel. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming here. We have a super program for you. I think, as you'll see from the program, we've divided it up into 2 days. The first day is on human health, progress since the publication of the human genome in 2003. And the second day, who would have thought that we would be looking at how genomics is now impacting the dairy cow industry, the oil sands, the environmental monitoring, remediation, crops, you name it. We're looking at the genomes of those organisms of all life forms. And this will be a key element to the future bioeconomy, which Canada, given its footprint, should be taking a disproportionately high piece of that pie. Obviously, we've assembled the collective brain power in this room is just super. We're very lucky to have the 3 past chairs of Genome Canada. Very proud to have Henry Friesen, Cal Stiller, and Tom Caskey in the room. And we'll be meeting the current chair, Lauren Hepworth, later on today. So all of this is great. We have a great lineup of speakers. Thank you all for coming. We have a great poster session outside. We only had the space for 30 posters. 240 poster abstracts were submitted for this. So there's an absolutely ruthless selection process. And there will be some prizes for posters, etc. Tomorrow. So now I have the great pleasure to introduce a special speaker this morning, the Honourable Gary Goodyear, Minister of State for Science and Technology. Minister Goodyear was first elected to the House of Commons in 2004 and re-elected in 2006, 2008 and 2011. He was appointed Minister of State, Science and Technology in October 2008 and Minister of State, Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario in 2009. Prior to entering federal politics, Dr. Goodyear practiced chiropractic medicine and worked as an advisor to investment firms in the biomedical industry. Minister Goodyear is a champion. He's our champion of science and technology for the country. He's a huge supporter of what we do. I'd like to thank him personally for what he does. And please, Minister Goodyear, address the audience. Thank you. And thank you for your time.
Good morning. Bonjour. Thank you very much for that kind introduction, Pierre. It's great to be here, and I want to thank Genome Canada for inviting me here today. C'est un grand plaisir d'être ici avec vous aujourd'hui. To begin, I also would like to thank the Gairdner Foundation for continued success of its international awards in medicine. I should also take a moment to congratulate Genome Canada and all the people here from Genome. You make, frankly, you make tremendous contributions in the quality of genomics research in Canada by supporting the translation of discoveries into products and processes. You are helping not only create improved social and health benefits, but also economic benefits for the nation. Now, as Minister of State for Science and Technology for Canada, I'm privileged to meet brilliant people pretty much every day, including all of you here, committed professionals indeed, who are at the forefront of their fields and who push, frankly, the boundaries of human knowledge and ingenuity. In fact, it is my firm personal belief that scientific research and discovery are the keys to continuing Canada's record of economic growth, as well as leadership in innovation and improving the quality of life, not just for our citizens, but for people all around the world. And frankly, I can tell you that it came as no surprise to me that a recent report from the Council of Canadian Academies concluded that the science and technology enterprise in Canada is healthy, growing, internationally competitive and respected among the world's leading scientific minds. Now, to be precise, this report ranked Canada as 4th in the world, and that's in absolute terms, and that is the results of a survey of some 5,000 of the brightest minds on the planet. Now, of course, we are very proud of this. I'm personally very proud of this. We should all be proud of this ranking, but everyone here knows that we need to continue to improve our performance as a nation in unlocking the significant potential of our science and technology to power our prosperity. Now, to do so, we must continue to foster greater collaboration among the private sector, academia, and the governments in ways that promote knowledge transfer, in ways that drive innovation further and spurs faster commercialization in this very competitive world. Of course, events such as this one are at the core of that kind of collaboration. And really, the end goal here is to fulfill the promise of genomics, just as you have aptly named this conference, the power and the promise. Now, our government is a committed partner in this respect. Since 2006, when we took office, we've invested more than $440 million in genomics-related research through Genome Canada. And what's just as valuable, if not more valuable, is that an additional $1 billion has been leveraged on top of that in partner co-funding. You know, the Harper government invests in genomics because we know that it improves the lives, the quality of lives of Canadians, and it creates high-quality jobs in moving from the laboratory to the living rooms and hospitals of the world. To date, Genome Canada has engaged thousands of researchers and funded some 156 large-scale, world-class research projects. Now, I would be a bit remiss if I did not mention our government's continued partnership with the Gairdner Foundation as well. I'm very proud of the fact that in celebration of its 50th anniversary of the International Awards, we provided the foundation with a $20 million endowment. And just this past summer, we made an additional investment of some $2 million to support the Canadian Gairdner Awards for another 5 years. This support has enabled the foundation to enhance the reputation it already has in honoring Canadian Gairdner Award winners on the international front. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these investments are just one part, albeit a very important part, but just one part of our government's broader engagement on the science, technology, and innovation front, which we launched our National Science and Technology Strategy back in 2007. Now, this strategy, one of the very first actions the Prime Minister took after we came to government office, has helped redefine the way governments, businesses, and the research community band together to drive economic activity through science. Excuse me. And frankly, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that it is our responsibility. In fact, we believe that it is our obligation to move these ideas from the laboratory to the living rooms and hospitals of the world. Genome Canada plays a very important role in the development of Canada's knowledge advantage, its people advantage, and its entrepreneurial advantage. These are the three key elements of the science and technology strategy. And I believe you can see as well as I can that these efforts are clearly paying off. The Structural Genomics Consortium is one such effort that comes to mind. Now, based at the University of Toronto, the consortium supports the discovery of new medicines through open access research. It is a stellar example, frankly, and a unique Canadian demonstration of collaboration on all levels, nationally and internationally, among researchers, academia, and industry to create a new business model. Specifically, this is a new business model for pre-competitive drug discovery, which will make all of its findings available to the global research community without restriction. And to give you an idea of the extent of this collaboration, The Consortium, a not-for-profit organization, counts more than 200 researchers from universities, 6 pharmaceutical companies, and 10 different partners. And some of those partners include such people as the Ontario Ministry of Research and Innovation, the United Kingdom Wellcome Trust, the Canadian Institute for Health Research, Genome Canada, of course, and the Canadian Foundation for Innovation, to name just a few. Together, their collaboration will assist the Consortium in accomplishing its goals. It is the ultimate example, ladies and gentlemen, of partnerships, which has the potential to transform the entire world with their promising medical discoveries. They, too, get the responsibility and obligation and have a great commitment to transfer this knowledge and these discoveries into worthwhile products and processes to make the world a better place. Excuse me. If you'll indulge me just one final example, I would like also to highlight the International Barcode of Life, the project, or we call it IBOL for short, known as the largest biodiversity genomics initiative ever undertaken. IBOL is a global effort being led by Canadian researchers focused on constructing a DNA sequence library that would allow for the identification of organisms very quickly and inexpensively. Now, the collected barcodes use DNA to refine our knowledge in the hopes of answering, I suppose, one of the more unique and fundamental questions in biodiversity science, and that is, how many species are exactly on this planet? This type of DNA barcoding has already been used to identify falsely labeled fish in Canada and the United States. In addition, the U.S. Agricultural Department is working on a global database of fruit fly barcodes to combat horticultural pests, and tree barcodes to identify lumber products from endangered forests. Now, here at home, Environment Canada is working with IBOL for water quality monitoring. These are all great initiatives with significant economic and social positive impacts. Now, moving forward, more initiatives involving the globalization of trade, impact of climate change, and calls for biodiversity conservation are sure to make rapid species identification a worldwide interest. And Canadian researchers are going to be playing a leadership role in this event. Ladies and gentlemen, we can take great pride in these accomplishments, not only as Canadians, but as members of a global community. Scientific advancements knows no borders, as you well know, and it benefits everyone when we can move those ideas from the laboratory to the living rooms and hospitals of the global market. We not only improve the quality of life for people all around the world, but between here and there, we create high-quality jobs, high-paying jobs. Now, clearly, our country's rich history of discovery, research, and development has propelled us to play an important role on the world stage. From the light bulb to the alkaline, long-lasting battery to finding the gene for cystic fibrosis, Canadian researchers, entrepreneurs, and business leaders have led the way in innovation. And our government is committed to working with you, the scientific community, to facilitate these types of breakthrough and basic science discoveries and take it to the next level of helping society. This brings meaningful and innovative products and processes to the marketplace, which will, as I've mentioned, in turn create high-quality jobs, economic growth for the nation, and long-term prosperity. Because for our government, innovation is not a set of programs, institutions, and technologies. It is a highly networked ecosystem. It is a product of collaboration. It is what's happening when people like you refuse to take no for an answer. So I encourage you to take more risks, calculated as they may be. Draw upon your competitive spirit and come up with bold new approaches to traditional challenges. On behalf of Prime Minister Stephen Harper and our government, I wish you all the best over the next 2 days. Thank you very much, and enjoy your day.